Kody Brown, star of Sister Wives, is never very kind to Meri. Before and during their dramatic breakup, he had made some awful remarks about her. Meri Brown is treated poorly by Sister Wives patriarch Kody Brown, and some of his remarks about her are really unpleasant. It appears that he is unaware of the social norm that prohibits males from speaking negatively about women, particularly after they have given birth. But Kody truly doesn't have a middle ground. He either veers between being passive-aggressive or outright mean-spirited, unless he's talking about his queen, Robyn Brown. Sovereign Robyn undoubtedly taught him the art of passive-aggressive manipulation. But the blatant cruelty is entirely his own. Fans of Sister Wives Season 18 may disagree with Kody, who has been channeling Darth Vader for years, but it appears like he thinks Meri deserves the very worst treatment possible. Probably an attempt to make himself appear decent, his attempts to portray Meri as a less than human. He doesn't accomplish that when he gets down. In fact, he demonstrates to the public how his attitude ruined the multiple marriages of the Brown family. Meri is a single woman off-screen, and her recent weight reduction success is unmistakable evidence that parting ways with Kody was the right decision. Still, his hurtful words could hurt. Although Kody from Sister Wives Season 18 feels that Meri cheated on him, he has done a lot to hurt her. Though Meri had her reasons, she did. Still, he was ready to overlook it all in exchange for a few chewy, delicious candies. When Meri gave him a mouth-watering assortment of Rice Krispie cookies, one for each year they had been married, his heart warmed. That was considerate, and even though the gesture made him weaker, it wasn't enough to convince him to stay with her in the end. Technically, she did leave, but in all honesty, he checked out ages ago. It wasn't appropriate for Meri to bake for this man. Robyn had to remind him to give Meri and s'mores at the family BBQ. Robyn loudly whispered to Meri, who heard the entire exchange, that Kody ought to bring her in s'mores. It turned out to be another instance of complete humiliation. This vicious attack reminds me of Another Brick in the Wall, a melancholy Pink Floyd rock anthem. For all intents and purposes, Kody could be singing, "All in all, you're just another brick in the wall." By writing on the wall, he meant that his relationship with Meri was terminal. He voiced his opinion throughout the entire barndominium fiasco involving Sister Wives. When he asked Meri to move into an as-yet unrealistic barn with a loft, she was insulted and departed. There was where he intended to keep his motorcycles and Meri. Nothing else needs to be said about this. The negative is self-explanatory. Under the pretense of attempting to patch things up with Meri, Kody has a really bizarre tendency of trying to make her feel uncomfortable. The barndominium incident is a prime illustration of Kody's lack of manners. He conveys his true sentiments to Meri by making him feel as insignificant as an abandoned item. He acts as though he is worried about her at all times. This is unjustifiable and classic Kody. It's difficult to support him or see his side when he acts in this way. He's simply being unkind. Kody's biting remark effectively emphasizes his lack of gentlemanly manners. Kody acts well around Robyn, but he would definitely turn on her too if she crossed him. Robyn is skilled at dealing with the patriarch, who might not be that great of a prize. Robyn is aware that she cannot be overly strict. She uses her formidable tools, tears, the previously described passive aggression, and feminine cunning to achieve better outcomes. Kody has admitted that he feels compelled to conceal their romantic tension from Meri because he is unable to resist Robyn's attraction. He lashes out at Meri while gushing about Robyn, as seen by his vulgar confession that he can't be in love with her. Kody is engaged in a public relations battle both on and off TV, and he isn't afraid to disparage Meri. He has years of experience doing it. But everyone who's seen the latest season has witnessed Kody at his most insane. On screen, he has fallen apart and is blaming everyone else for his troubles. He's demonstrated several flaws that run counter to the alpha male ideal he seeks to propagate. His attrition campaign against his unloved former spouses is therefore not having much of an impact. Kody fails in his attempts to win his divorces. Christine Brown left with considerable grace, considering what she'd been through, but Kody was unable to summon the same kind of grace. He was excessively resentful and suspicious. This season, he's dangling carrots to entice Janelle Brown to stay, but it's brutally evident to her and everyone else that his heart isn't in it. He doesn't bother with incentives when it comes to Meri. Rather, he would rather humiliate her even more, as seen by his request for her to move into a converted barn that he owns mostly junk from. He isn't able to be in love with her. People love who they love, therefore that's okay. They belong with the people who adore them. The true problem here, though, is that Kody seems to take pleasure in making Mary look bad. Is this retaliation for the regrettable sister wives catfishing incident that shattered their bond and caused its untimely demise years later? Perhaps so. Once more, Mary was only lonely. A nicer man would have pardoned her for this transgression. That was visible to all. What was the reason behind her loneliness? Because Robin was Kody's obsession, that is, with no way out, Mary was virtually stuck in a polygamous arrangement. It is not supposed for women to depart. It is expected of them to obey. Fortunately, Mary is doing well off-screen despite Kody's uncomfortable and all too common criticism. She has even given up on the never-ending cryptic posts. She appears less emotional and is more present in the moment. After a relationship, Mary seems to be more herself. Still, she might fall in love eventually, just as recently with Christine did. Mary may be extremely feeble at times, but it's easy to support her. She finds it difficult to stand up for herself and her rights. Instead, she hangs her head. She doesn't deserve the emotional torture she's received, but she's not a bad person either. Kody clarified his on-screen remark that he can't be in love with by promising to always love Mary. He attempted to lessen the blow, but in reality, he doesn't. Once more, this is very evident. This kind of disclaimer makes him seem more kind. In actuality, he isn't kind. If that were the case, he would not be making these harsh comments in public. It appears that Kody says these things because he is aware that they will hurt Mary. There really isn't any other justification for repeating what is obviously clear. To make matters worse, and inject a little self-pity into the mix, he declared that it was heartbreaking that he couldn't love Mary. What effect does he think this has on her? He is really skilled at what he does. Kody is going to pay a price for his inability to keep silent in the future. Together, they are parents. When Mary contacted Kody on their 32nd wedding anniversary, Kody opted for nastiness. She picked up the phone that fateful April 2022 day, perhaps totally unaware that Kody was about to dump on her rather than celebrate reaching a significant accomplishment. The problem is, he didn't truly put her down when they were on the phone. He held off until after their dinner date. Kody thought that sitting at the table, pretending to be enjoying themselves, would be the ideal time to say, "I don't know why you even bothered to call and say happy anniversary, Mary." Mary discussed all of this on screen, and it was quite depressing. But by then, she ought to have known better than to do it. In an attempt to get through to her, Kody continued to twist the knife in that manner. Long ago, any other lady on the planet would have comprehended. Although Kody seemed to be the monster in this situation, Mary's ignorance was a concern. There was no reason for this dinner date to occur. It should never have happened that the phone call before it did. Kody converses with Mary while under pressure. He is not interested in things changing in any way. Mary occasionally fails to notice some crucial indications. She must have found it difficult to disregard the indications this time. They weren't, however, the first indications she got. Kody was in an especially bad mood for the dinner date from hell. It was obvious he would have preferred to be somewhere else. Maybe he was growing frustrated with faking things with Mary. Mary disputed that they were faking when he informed her so. This was not a good sign for an enjoyable evening. When Kody revealed to her that he had no desire to continue dating his 32-year wife, things became even more awkward. Thank God, Mary is out of this mess off-screen. Mary recently shared a photo on Instagram showing that she had a wonderful Thanksgiving with her loved ones. Once more, Kody and Mary's anniversary was a tragedy waiting to happen and should never have happened. I'm sure Mary suffered for weeks following the nightmare incident. There was no chivalry in Kody anymore. For Mary, he will not be tossing coats over puddles. Indeed, it is true. His multiple marriages were archaic compared to the Dark Ages, but his mannerisms are regrettably all too current. As usual, Kody's definition of marital obligation revolves around Robin. For that reason alone, he was putting up with Mary. He wants her to appreciate him. The number of terrible things Kody has said about Mary, who appears to be such a sweetheart on film, is nearly astonishing. But Mary might be more complex than first appears. Another contentious Sister Wives star, Peyton Brown, claimed that Mary mistreated him and other Brown children when they were growing up. Mary never replied to the accusations directly. It's a huge relief that Kody and Mary have broken things off as they were a terrible match. But what transpired over the course of 18 occasionally taxing seasons of Sister Wives will never be forgotten. Mary and Kody will always have to live with the memory of their terrible relationship. I hope they are able to move past it. The full quote can be seen here for readers to comprehend. Kody is utterly lacking in manners. His statements are ridiculous. It's insane when you put all the quotes together. Fortunately, there was one positive outcome from their incredibly unhappy relationship. Leon Brown, their adult kid, has grown apart from the Brown family, partly due to Kody's lack of support throughout their transition. Although brave, Kody's trans child is a coward. Kody pulled off a high-stakes heist when he melted down the wedding band that represented his union with Mary. Again, how needless was this? It was awful enough to do it, but the lowest of all was to discuss it in public. If the wearer doesn't believe in what the ring stands for, it has no significance. As long as someone believes that this inanimate object is a symbol, it has no more power than what exists in their minds. It's simply a piece of metal, and he didn't believe in it. Its melting reveals a great deal of suppressed fury. Kody requires more helpful outlets. He's grown so cynical and resentful over time. The TLC clip above shows that there aren't enough hurting tunes and heartbreak ballads to truly convey what Mary has been through. It's all falling apart now, and Kody is sharing way too much. Regretfully, he seems utterly unwilling to resolve his differences with Mary. To his credit, the issues don't seem to have an answer. The fact that Kody worries about judgment is mentioned in the video. He is already completely checked out if his fear of criticism prevents him from addressing problems. Mary would be better off without the Sister Wives season 18 star in her life, as they have only caused her suffering. It is not worth battling for him.